Hello everyone, my name is Rob Zurich and I would like to welcome you to today's webinar. Our topic today is 360-degree lead management for 100% confidence, harnessing the power of change. And our presenter is Mr. Skip LaFont. Skip is lead product manager for our UCC products and services here at Lien Solutions. He has more than 11 years of experience supporting the core portfolio of UCC Lien products and services. His understanding of the requirements that drive secured lending industry, along with his expertise in uniform commercial code filings, allows him to identify customer pain points and identify innovative approaches to improve their experience. Before we begin, just a couple of housekeeping notes. All attendee lines are muted, and questions will only be taken via the Q&A function. That function can be found at the upper right portion of your screen. You can ask a question at any time, but we will only answer them at the end of the presentation as time allows. Today's session will be recorded and we will make it available to you in the coming days. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Skip LaFont.
Thank you, Rob. Welcome to today's webinar, 360-degree Lien Management for 100% Confidence, Harnessing the Power of Change. Now, as part of today's presentation, we're going to talk a little bit as why manage is so important, but more importantly, what we mean when we say manage. It's a complex world out there, and all those complexities impact how you keep your lien perfected. We'll illustrate how the factors externally are drastically causing an imbalance to how you secure and perfect your liens. We'll then discuss being a change agent can proactively prepare you for how you manage your portfolios. And then we'll talk about some smart tools like monitoring and reporting that can definitely set you above the curve and ensure that your portfolio is managed accordingly. And finally, we'll wrap up with some future lookings into new and innovative thoughts on how you can manage your portfolio from end to end. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started. Why manage? Before we dig deep into why it's important to manage, let's take a few moments to discuss what we mean when we say manage. Now, as many of you on this call are quite familiar, there is a need to do extensive research or due diligence when you're considering entering an agreement with a potential borrower or debtor. Now, as part of that due diligence, once the decision is made, you'll have the need to file a perfected lien on public records. It's at that moment that that lien is filed that you have the need to manage the external conditions that could affect the perfection of that lien. The fear of the unknown is really what drives the need for manage. And when we say manage, we're talking about the process of managing your perfective liens end to end until the loan is paid off. Now, this unknown has many, many questions. Some, for example, do you have all of the information you will need to make the necessary changes as your lien perfection is challenged? Will the lien holder today be the lien holder tomorrow? If your debtor is not successful and it fails, do you have the necessary steps to mitigate that risk? What if your UCC expires prior to the loan being paid off? What happens then? It's questions like these that really drive the need to understand why manage is so important so that you can have this necessary mitigation steps in place to take place if something does occur. So what drives these unknowns? It would be nice to put a process in place and you never have to go back and change that process as it relates to managing your portfolio. However, we all know that that's not the case. There are several key contributors that factor into changing the need for how you consider compliance and perfection. The first of which is probably the most popular, and that's regulatory pressures. New legislation comes down that changes how you need to think about compliance. There's the constant corporate demands increase top line while maintaining or improving bottom lines. Customer expectations. Give me my decision faster. Give me more money with the same collateral that I've already pledged before. Process improvement. Do more with less. And then finally, technological advances. Can automation help me streamline my process? In short, change is not only driving the need for more proactive lien management, but it also drives the need to find smarter tools and smarter processes and methods that help you do this. So how do we know this to be true? Are there any crystal balls, if you will, that can help us predict what needs to happen when you consider managing your portfolio? And in short, the answer is yes. What we've seen in the past is typically what happens on the consumer end trickles its way down to the commercial lending. Disruption, if you will, has always been at work on the consumer and retail banking side, and this has been the case for a while. We're now starting to see a lot of these changes cascade its way into other areas. Customers have seen a drastic change in the digital transformation as far as how they do business on the front end. Take, for instance, the way you might do business with your current bank. Many of you can take the picture of your check to deposit it or log into a mobile application to either make deposits or withdrawals. This drastic change on the front end is also starting to change the expectations of what can be delivered by operations on the back end. Thus, back-end operations are starting to feel this immense pressure from their customers and corporations, and they are now in a catch-up mode. They have to think about how their operations are coordinated, the means and way in which their due diligence is done, as well as how they manage overall risk so that it is in line to the front-end experience that these consumers are experiencing. And finally, as these expectations shift, commercial lenders are looking for more innovative approaches to their current banking operations so they can keep up with the digitalization that has transformed that front-end user experience. When considering the factors and the attributes that really go with securing liens or a book of liens, also known as portfolios, you'll notice that those factors tend to oppose the simple task of securing your portfolios. For instance, technology is in a constant state of innovation and disruption. Just think about how artificial intelligence, analytics, and blockchains have dominated conversations in recent. Communication and the speed in which decision-making needs to happen has changed. Maintaining perfection and even doing normal business has become more complex because of the speed in which communication is occurring. Automation is definitely replacing manual processes and reducing variations in errors. This is thus driving costs down as we further identify inefficiencies. Resources are being asked to be reallocated to more growth initiatives. Regulations and corporate demands are prompting more proactive risk management. All this is leading lenders to become more vastly aware of the risk that could impact their overall perfections as it relates to their interest. So if all of these factors are constantly working against the ability to secure a portfolio, what can we do to be better? And the simple saying is be a good change agent. Drive the change versus being driven to change. We value this, or we see this as a great opportunity to really take the wheel, make those proactive changes that will inoculate your operation, even as external regulation pressures and internal corporate expectations increases. With smart selections of technology, smart process improvements, smart tools, and partnerships with smart providers, you can be more efficient while being more accurate and thorough more than ever so before. This thus leads to your 100% confidence throughout your entire lending transaction. Lien Solutions is helping our customers be the drivers of this change with new and emerging technologies that help them achieve a more perfected approach to lien mitigation. So if you're going to drive the change, what you're going to see is that customers' expectations in this sector has definitely risen. While fundamentals for the lenders haven't changed, they've remained the same. You're still expected to make smart lending decisions. You're still expected to maintain perfection. And of course, you're still expected to preserve the interest of those assets. Lien managers are now expected to step their game up, especially when it comes to their operations. They're being asked to look more deeply into their portfolios or their book of loans. They're being asked to apply best practices to operate at a more efficient mark, deliver better customer service. It's always the end user experience that's the most important. They're taking more proactive steps to try to protect their investment. And overall, they're actively managing liens from start to finish. And if you think about how these liens are connected to actual loans and the fact that loans can span decades, this process is something that has to span to years. In order to address these raised expectations, lien managers are looking to automation, digitization, and newer technologies to meet these newer expectations. Having a real-time, holistic, and proactive approach will help our lien managers with these raised expectations. To achieve this highest level of perfection, you've got to not only know what's changed, but what's about to change and anticipate these future changes. You've also got to be able to have the right steps in place so that you're able to pivot and respond to these changes. And this, in a sense, is allowing you to act ahead of these changes. All this is absolutely achievable with a 360-degree approach that can alert you of circumstances that compromise your protection in real time, gives you a holistic view and advance notice of what's coming, and most importantly, the insights to anticipate the actions you'll need to take so that you can fine-tune your operations and maintain the health of your portfolio. The good news is that lenders or leaders like Lien Solutions have long helped our lenders not only attain perfection, but also the interest and maintain them over time. New tools and capabilities are now available that make it absolutely realistic and possible to have a full 360-degree life cycle long approach to lien management that gets every lender closer to achieving that oh so important goal of 100% confidence within their lending cycle. In short, a more perfect approach to lien management perfection. At Lien Solutions, our one and only goal for many, many years has been to help lenders like you achieve and maintain perfection for your vital interests as it relates to your assets. While the current challenges for lien managers are real, so are the benefits of adopting a real holistic, proactive approach, or what we dub as a 360-degree view. Being able to see those changes and have them in a way that is completely and 100% visible allows you to select the most efficient process while applying the best practices, thus driving down costs while improving quality. It also allows you to mitigate risk, pivot, and change the way that you mitigate those risks, thus leading to the overall goal of perfection and keeping those liens perfected. So we've talked high level of how these external changes kind of work against the end goal of maintaining that perfection. But when you think about things a little bit more in line with UCCs and liens, you'll know that the stakes for protecting your interest can be significant if they're not done properly. The initial filing that UCC and getting it perfected is only the first step. A wide range of variables can happen that will impact your overall perfection. Some of these can include your UCC expiring before your loan is actually paid off, the debtor or borrower of that loan changing its name or its actual location where it's found, errors on that initial UCC that impacts its perfection, someone fraudulently or erroneously terminating your UCC before your loan is paid off, or that borrower going out and obtaining more capital from a different lender. All of these are examples of external changes that you may not be privy to that can most definitely impact and increase your risk as it relates to that debtor. These changes, as we like to say, can be the enemy of perfection because they do work against keeping that lien perfected. So this may seem like an overwhelming task of maintaining your perfection with these liens. But after all, lenders, they have thousands of liens that they are responsible for maintaining. And at Lien Solutions, we believe the best way of doing this is by harnessing the power of change. There are tools and approaches for a more holistic, proactive lien management that an adequate partner can help you provide. So when you consider that most lenders will have hundreds, if not thousands, of outstanding loans and leases, keeping track and updating all of them can most definitely be a significant drain on time and resources. As a result, once filed, our lenders and customers have told us that many of their UCCs simply go unattended. drastically raising the risk that those UCCs and liens will become imperfect. So how do you manage that? How do you mitigate that? We've heard loud and clear that our lenders are in the business of making money off of timely repayments of loans, and they don't want to become the experts when it comes to compliance and managing their liens. The good news is that there is a better way, and that better way is through a partnership. A sophisticated Lien Solutions firm with a comprehensive UCC management solution can absolutely give you the confidence that your portfolio's health is being managed not only by yourself, but by experts. They can handle any volume of liens, whether small or large. They can vastly improve internal productivity and free your people up to focus on those corporate demands around growth initiatives. They can also reduce the risk of losing perfection. Again, remember, this is a very overwhelming task, but you don't have to go at it alone. As we discussed, there are many post-filing changes that can put your lien portfolio at risk. Again, some examples are a borrower or individual changes its name, perfectly healthy in any given environment, but this can impact your overall risk as it relates to your lien. A borrower can fall out of good standing. Corporate charter records can change that impact whether or not a borrower is doing what it needs to stay in good standings. That borrower can decide to move or merge with another business, or they can look to repledge their collateral on additional loans. All of these changes and more need to be reflected in your filings in order to maintain your full protection. Otherwise, should your UCC or your borrower fail, your UCC may be challenged and ruled not perfect. This is the absolute worst case scenario, and you will lose your place in the secured lender's line, thus making it impossible for you to recoup your losses. So what can you do to protect yourself? In short, monitoring, getting that information pushed to you. Now, a robust monitoring solution will absolutely constantly check your status of your debtor against corporate charter records and UCC records. As part of that constant check, they are going to alert you of debtor name changes, mergers, dissolutions, loss of good standings, cancellations, and much more. By learning about these changes that could affect your debtor, you are then staying privy to the changing risk of that debtor, and this is allowing you to act faster and take the actions you need to protect your investments. The comprehensive lien management solution coupled with monitoring, the system should automatically keep track of your portfolios based off settings that you set. Every lender, every organization is different, and the size of your liens could affect how you want to be notified of external changes. So you should have that flexibility to set those configurations yourself. This comprehensive lien management solution should provide you with alerts within the system. These alerts can also be done via email. They should be sent directly to you or various members in your organization in the format that makes sense to your organization. These alerts, whether they're stored in the system or sent via email, should also highlight not only what's happened, but when it's happened and what are the necessary steps to mitigate whatever risk has just been notified. When you also think about a comprehensive lien solution, you should also have the ability to provide confirmation of filing acknowledgments when orders were completed. That gives you the peace of mind that you're not having to allocate resources for follow-up. You should also get alerts should anything get rejected or there's information that's missing so that you can take those actions quickly and get that lien perfected as quick as possible, thus not losing any potential position as it relates to other secured lien holders. Now, just having the knowledge from monitoring is not enough. You need action. And you can obtain some of that action via automation. When you couple monitoring with a system that automates these actions, this is the key to a healthy portfolio. Now, with automation, you don't have to rely on manual tickler systems to follow up on lien statuses. Employees are not expected to simply remember what needs to be done or when it needs to be done. Systems can be programmed to take those actions on your behalf. Automation definitely streamlines lien management by reducing the steps and making sure they happen without you having to do anything at all. It also helps strengthen your lien portfolio by reducing the oversight, lapses, and errors that can increase your overall risk. When assessing, adopting, or trying to figure out what system you want to employ as it relates to your lien management, integration with your existing fronting system should be a critical consideration because automation by default demands that your system be able to communicate seamlessly with each other. For example, our lien application automatically populates filing fields, due diligence search request, search results, images, and acknowledgments directly back into your loan originating system. Our API infrastructure, which we continually refine, connects your existing system without changing your workflow or disrupting your processes. Again, super critical when considering employing an automated solution. Now, one thing is most definitely certain when you think about UCC filings. It absolutely will expire, and often well before your loan is paid off. As I mentioned, most loans will span decades, and because UCCs have a 5-year lifespan, many loans will go far outside the life of a UCC. So to remain perfected, lenders must file a continuation on these expiring UCCs. But many lenders either lacked the capability to track their vast number of UCCs or keep up with all of the UCCs that may need to be continued. Rudimentary tickler systems, our customers have told us, have been put in place to manually check these UCCs that could be expiring, but they inevitably lead to oversight and missed opportunities to maintain perfection. But an automated solution around continuation can definitely help solve this. When we think about automation, it does not necessarily have to mean some type of system-to-system integration. You can acquire tools and smart processes that have the automation built into it. An automated continuation tool can monitor dates, prepare forms, and file continuation statements automatically based off predetermined criteria that you set. It can drastically reduce time spent managing continuations while ensuring key dates and required actions won't be missed. In the end, definitely increasing the peace of mind that I will not have a filing lapse on me without me knowing. This translates to less risk and secure positions versus other creditors. It also reduces manual intervention, which increases productivity. In short, a solution like Lien's auto continuation can convert this task from a very labor-intensive drain to a more automated feature that takes a fraction of the time and ensures accuracy while ensuring the reliability that your UCCs will live as long as your loan. Now, seeing the details and the overall big picture is an end goal. Monitoring definitely makes sure that you're ready to take action on individual liens or batches of liens. Reporting can provide you with that insight about cost, efficiency, and the quality of liens of an operations as a whole. Your Lien Solutions should be able to provide you both a comprehensive monitoring as well as a portfolio-wide reporting so you can ask factor to protect your investments. Now, when considering your reporting, you need to ensure that your reporting tool offers you comprehensive and flexibility. It allows you to pull data simply and quickly in real time. It lets you choose which data you want when you want it. That reporting tool should let you generate reports across all of your liens, all of your portfolios, both on demand and on a schedule that fits you, so that it's pushing the data to you as opposed to you retrieving it. And finally, it should definitely give you the metrics and insight to measure against your processes so that you can streamline them for better efficiency and productivity while saving time and cost. Now, we've seen how existing tools can exist, and these tools are both smart and forward-thinking. At Lien Solutions, we're always looking at new innovative approaches, and this often requires us to employ emerging technologies and processes. But with this employment, it also allows us to think ahead as what we can do to help you with lien management today as well as tomorrow. An example of that foresight would be analytics. It's not just enough to get a report on the data that you have. You need to know what you have to do with that data, what's the health of that data, and where you can look to improve. And all this can be done with advanced analytics that focuses on 4 key categories as it relates to your organization. These categories include risk factors such as inaccurate debtor names across your entire portfolio, quality issues such as filing rejections, which may require you to refile these UCCs, efficiency issues that map to your SLAs. Are you getting those UCCs filed in a timely manner? And operational matters such as filing trends so that you can make the necessary decisions and allocate the necessary resources based off of your business need. All of this is something that Lien Solutions is looking to offer as part of Lien Analytics as we think about the next innovation in relation to a 360-degree lien portfolio management. Now, in addition to having all of that information at your fingertips, there is one question that might be at the top of your minds. How can you be 100% sure that you are truly tracking a complete UCC lien portfolio? Depending on your organization, our lenders have told us that they may have third-party counsel or outside sources file these liens on their behalf. Thus, it's exposing a potential risk that they don't have a full picture. Even with a system as sophisticated as Lien, these gaps could still exist. Lien Solutions is looking at advanced technology, artificial intelligence, to create a process of giving you a holistic view of your liens from beginning to end, regardless of who files those liens on your behalf. Not only are you having a centralized view of these liens, but you're able to see all of your outside counsel filings, as well as the filings that you're doing in-house for full transparency. So when it comes time to make that subsequent action, you are making that decision across all of your liens beginning to end. In conclusion, having smart tools can definitely help you harness the power of change and achieve that 360-degree lien management for 100% confidence. Smart tools and processes like monitoring can help you know sooner so that you can act faster to protect your investments. Automation reduces oversights, lapses, and errors that can help increase your risk. Auto continuation, which is a form of automation, is simple but powerful because it ensures your liens stay perfected for as long as you need it. Flexible reporting lets you see the details as it relates to your overall portfolio. And forward-thinking capabilities like lien analytics or having a holistic view of your portfolio as it relates to the Secretary of State allow you to have all of these elements working together in one real-time, holistic, and highly proactive lien solution. Lien Solutions has been delivering peace of mind to our lien managers for decades, and will continue to do this by delivering newer solutions that better and more proactively help you manage your overall lien portfolio.
Outstanding stuff, Skip. Thank you so much. Really fascinating to take a look at the different ways to manage a lien portfolio. We've got several questions that have come in this afternoon during your presentation. The first question is from an attendee, and it asks, if you choose to do automated continuations, does that UCC still appear on your expiration report so that you can choose to terminate it if it is no longer needed?
Great question, Rob. So as part of auto continuation, it will in fact continue any UCCs that are about to expire. Now, once that UCC has actually been continued or submitted by the system, it will no longer appear on your pending expiration report. But up until the system actually continues that, you can at any point in time decide not to continue it by terminating it or allowing it to expire. Anything that you allow to expire, auto continuation will not continue. Thus, it will not appear on your report in the future.
Great, thank you. Next question comes from an attendee, and it asks, can I have active liens that have already been filed monitored, or does the monitoring service only work for newly filed liens?
Great question again. As you consider your monitoring solution, you want to make sure that it's robust enough not only to monitor new liens that are created going forward, but any active liens that you may have existing in those public records. So not only does Eileen's monitoring solution will monitor any new UCC that you might create through the application, but if you've got hundreds or thousands of liens that currently exist, we can absolutely make sure we're monitoring the debtors on those liens.
Great, thank you. Oftentimes we think a lot about state level filings, but this question asks, are county filings also able to be monitored?
The short answer is absolutely. I'd like to take a moment to just clarify one myth when it comes to monitoring. Most people believe that you're monitoring the actual lien, and although that's somewhat true, it wouldn't give you the full picture. What you're monitoring, or what you should be monitoring, is the debtor information on those liens. And with Eileen's monitoring system, not only do we monitor the debtor on state filings, we will also monitor those debtor information on county filings as well. So a long way of answering, yes, we do monitor county records as well.
Great, and actually the next question is somewhat applicable to that previous question and the answer that you just gave, and it is monitoring limited to individual states that a user would choose specifically, or can it be nationwide, for example, if you have a very large portfolio?
Yeah, and that really goes to one of the points that I mentioned during the presentation. You want to make sure that you've got a solution that is customizable to your organization. The monitoring services that we have here at Lien Solutions is customizable. You can restrict the alerts you get not only from state to state, but you can also restrict the type of alerts that you get. Your organization may not be interested in knowing that a user or a borrower has taken a new UCC1 out. So you can not have those alerts go to. And what this really does is it narrows down the most important information as it relates to your organization so that you're only getting what you want when you want it.
Outstanding. Great. Thank you. Next question. Are entities that use Eileen auto continuation passing that cost on to their borrowers?
So this is something that we get or we hear quite often, right? Like, how do we absorb the potential costs to automation? Absolutely. A lot of our customers are in fact passing these costs, both with auto continuation and things like monitoring, onto their borrowers. Since monitoring typically happens at the time of closing or is initiated when that UCC is filed, they're able to do that. What we're also hearing very loud and clear is that because of the value that auto continuation offers, having that peace of mind that nothing will lapse, it's just the necessary cost of doing business. And a lot of our customers are taking on that cost because they feel like it vastly outweighs the risk of having a multi-million-dollar asset lapse on a UCC.
Yeah, very good. Yes, when you talk about assets of that size, that becomes pretty important. Next question, I think, backs us up a little bit and really boils much of our conversation down to brass tacks. If I were to file my UCC3 continuation with you today, can you explain how that will ultimately help me as a lender?
Yeah, sure. So through our Eileen application, it has a built-in module that will alert you of things that are due to expire. But you're responsible for going in and clicking the button, navigating through the screens, and creating and submitting that continuation. And when you think about organizations that could have hundreds, if not thousands of liens, that definitely becomes an arduous task. Auto continuation removes that step. You're able to take those resources and reallocate them elsewhere. And what it does is it will submit those continuations automatically, thus removing that responsibility from you, while providing you with the necessary reports so you have full visibility and transparency as to what was done systematically.
In other words, there's also a quantity aspect to auto continuation as well as a quality in terms of the size of the asset. That's very interesting.
Yep.
Next question, again, comes from one of our attendees. How have you seen reporting and analytics actually help a company's operations or cause them to make more informed decisions? Do you have any examples of a situation where you've actually been able to really illustrate a case of helping the customer?
Absolutely. As I mentioned, we're looking at lien analytics in a completely different lens than anyone else is. And what we've heard loud and clear from our customers is that these things can most definitely help us make these decisions. An example that I'll recall is a simple one regarding rejections. Any comprehensive lien solution should alert you of rejections, and you should be able to act upon those rejections. But how do you know of the overall health of your entire portfolio? And that's where not just reporting, but analytics will come into play. Reporting will tell you what your overall portfolio looks like. Analytics will point to specific areas that you can improve. Is there a certain jurisdiction that's having more rejections than other? Are there certain users in certain branches that are having more rejections than other? And not only will analytics clearly point those out in a highly visualized way, it will also point to what you can do to help make those improvements. And that's where we've worked with some of our customers and some of the lenders to provide them these analytics so they can add things like additional trainings for those users that are struggling, or look to add additional documents and information for those jurisdictions where they're getting more rejections.
Very, very good. So to the point that I'm sure many of the attendees are asking right now, is the 360-degree lien management process, is it priced as a single product, or are there different tiers and add-ons that cost extra for a customer?
Great question. I've said this word probably a dozen times already, and it's flexibility. Our 360-degree view as it relates to lien management is, in fact, flexible. We work with you, we partner with you to understand where your pains are, where you're having trouble with, and we develop a package of product or services that allow you that 360-degree view. Now, you have the ability to add on, if you will, additional services or remove services that you might not be ready for, but we will most definitely partner with you, and the cost will vary depending on which solution you use. But the key here is that a 360-degree view is not an out-of-the-box solution. It is customized to your organization, and that in itself helps you obtain the most value from it.
That's really great stuff. Next question. Are all of these products and services scalable to different organization sizes and levels of complexity? So, for example, a bank that has several, if not hundreds of different locations, or one that grows in size overnight via an acquisition. How scalable are these lien management products to those type of situations?
That's a great question. We've got individuals from all sizes of organizations on the call today, and I've kind of alluded to having a very customizable and flexible solution. But part of that customization is not just the initial setup, right? You need a solution or a product of a suite of solutions that changes as you change. And so Lien, or the 360-degree view, is customizable as you grow or as you merge in with other businesses and organizations. You have that ability, you have the control to change the level of service you need at any given point in time. Again, we firmly believe that we should change as you change.
Great. We have time for one more question, and this one's interesting because it takes us a little bit outside the strict UCC world and moves us over into the real estate sector. The question is, do fixture filings recorded at the county level need to be continued after 5 years, or are they perfected until the corresponding mortgage is released?
That's a great question. It's a common misconception that once you file that mortgage with that county, you're good and you're covered. Any fixture filing that requires a UCC, for all intent and purposes, it still behaves like a UCC. And so that UCC will most definitely expire in 5 years. And as you know, most mortgages will go on 15 to 30 years. So you absolutely need to make sure that those county level fixture filings are continued before they expire. And having processes like auto continuation can help make sure that that data is taking place.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Skip. Really great job today. I think the idea of 360-degree lien management is one that is really fascinating and can really help a lot of people. Thank you so much to all our attendees today. We had some great questions. I really sincerely hope that you found this webinar to be interesting and helpful. Please note that we have recorded this session and we will be sending it to all registrants within the coming days. So please look in your email inboxes for a link to the recorded webinar. And when that arrives, feel free to share it with others in your organization that might benefit from that. So for all of us here at Walters Kluwer Lien Solutions, thank you. Have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you.